Good evening and welcome to BJC Halacha A number 2175. Halacha A keeps the Yetzer Hara way, dedicated in love and memory of Daniela Basvina Shamas and Aliyah. And we're continuing with the chapter, the period between the 17th of Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. Once again, if you'd like to sponsor, we definitely appreciate that. $36, 100 for the gold. What a schus, what a merit to sponsor Torah in your merit, in honor of somebody, in memory of someone. Special. You can't imagine how powerful your money is when it's used for a mitzvah. You can buy a coffee, you can buy a donut, you can buy some Chinese food, or you can sponsor some Torah. Wow. That $36 is worth more than the $1 million in the bank account. All right. Since the calamities of the destruction of Yerushalayim and the Beis Hamikdash, the Holy Temple, began on the 17th of Tammuz, therefore we practice some level of mourning from this day until after Tisha B'Av, the fast of the 9th of Av. It is appropriate for every God-fearing person to perform the service of Tikkun Chatzos. We talked about that a long time ago. That's a collection of prayers over the destruction of the temple, which is recited after midnight throughout the year by certain righteous individuals. It's printed in some Sephardi Sidorim. It's really not printed in the Ashkenazi Sidorim. Here, the Kitzur states that during the 3 weeks, there is a custom among some to recite it each afternoon. Okay, so we do that. Each day. After Chatzos of the day, halachic midday, right? That's when we do it. He says here, Chatzos is commonly calculated as half the time between sunrise and sunset, so it's not always exactly midnight or midday. We do not get married during these days, and this applies even to one who has not yet fulfilled the obligation to be fruitful and multiply. So you might think that, someone who's first time getting married should, but no. He says in the footnote, even if he does not yet have a son and a daughter, that would be fulfilling the mitzvah. Oh, it's a little more complicated than that. Marriages should be performed before the night of the 17th of Tammuz, right? Because that's the night of the fast. In a case of necessity, well, really, again, the 17th of Tammuz, technically the fast begins at dawn, but you're already in the 17th of Tammuz at nighttime, so that's why you should do it before that. In case of necessity, a halakhic authority must be consulted with regard to whether a marriage may take place on the night of the 17th of Tammuz. Okay. Moving along, my friends. However, to become engaged, to be married, and even to celebrate the occasion with a feast is permitted until Rosh Chodesh Av, the first of the month of Av. It is, however, prohibited to dance at this or any other celebration during the entire period of the three weeks. But from Rosh Chodesh Av and on, although at that time it is also permitted to become engaged, it is nevertheless prohibited to make a celebratory feast. You can't have that feast. However, they may celebrate by eating various preserves and the like. Be healthy anyway. A Jew whose livelihood is earned through playing musical instruments may play music in the home of idolaters, meaning non-Jews, to earn enough for his livelihood. Says it is forbidden to listen to music, even over the radio, during the 3 weeks. Once a child has reached 7 or 8 years old, he should be taught not to listen to music during this time. With regard to listening to musical instruments throughout the year, see below, not so simple. Also, now we're also in the time of the Sphira, so at least, I think at this point everyone's mourning, so we also don't listen to music until the 33rd of Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the counting. Okay, moving along. Fine, we did that. But from Rosh Chodesh, so he can earn his livelihood. He can play music in the home and until Rosh Chodesh Av. But from Rosh Chodesh Av until after the fast of Tisha B'Av, it's prohibited. So those 9 days he cannot play that music. And on the day of the 17th of Tammuz itself, it is similarly prohibited. And likewise on the fast of the 10th of Teves, it is also prohibited to play music even in the home of non-Jews for one's livelihood. Some of the custom not to eat meat or drink wine from the 17th of Tammuz until after Tisha B'Av, except on Shabbos or at a mitzvah feast. What we do, as you'll see, is we really don't eat meat and wine from the 9 days of Av, from Rosh Chodesh, such as a circumcision celebration, a Pidyon Haben, or a Siyum. So that's when certain people can eat, but the meat and wine. But in general, again, he says from the 17th of Tammuz, but the custom, maybe he'll mention it later, is really from Rosh Chodesh Av until the 9th of Av. That's when, for sure, you should not have meat or drink wine. Thanks for listening. Sponsor Yetzer Hara, 36 100 the gold.